Part 1. The girl who smiled in silence. She stood in front of the plain white wall, calm and composed, as if nothing in the world could shake her. Her long black hair rested naturally on her shoulders, and her eyes carried a quiet depth, the kind that spoke more than words ever could. People who looked at her saw confidence. They saw beauty. They saw a girl who seemed to have everything under control. But no one saw the storms she carried inside. Her name was Aarohi. At 23, Aarohi had learned something most people never do until much later in life: how to smile while breaking inside. The floral top she wore wasn't just fashion, it was her armor. Bright colors to hide dull pain. Soft fabric to mask a hard past. She lifted her hand and rested it behind her head, a pose photographers loved. But today, there was no camera. No audience. Just her and her thoughts. And her thoughts were loud. Aarohi's childhood was never soft. She grew up in a small house where walls were thin and voices were loud. Dreams were considered a luxury, and emotions were treated like weaknesses. Her father believed in discipline more than affection. Her mother believed in silence more than expression. From a very young age, Aarohi understood one rule clearly: don't complain. Don't cry. Adjust. When other children spoke about dreams, becoming artists, dancers, or travelers, Aarohi stayed quiet. Not because she didn't have dreams, but because she knew no one wanted to hear them. At night, she would sit near the window, watching the moon, whispering her hopes to the sky. Someday, she would say softly, someday, I'll live for myself. The price of being the strong one. As she grew older, Aarohi became the reliable one. The girl who never said no. The girl who handled responsibilities without asking for help. College was not freedom, it was survival. She studied during the day and worked in the evenings. While her friends laughed in cafes, Aarohi calculated expenses in her notebook. Rent, fees, groceries, every number mattered, every mistake hurt. There were nights she slept hungry, convincing herself it was a choice, not a compulsion. And still, she smiled. Because people expected her to be strong. Love knocked, but didn't stay. Then came Rowan. He noticed her silence. He admired her independence. He told her she was different. For the first time, Aarohi allowed herself to believe someone saw her, not the strong girl, not the responsible one, but her. She shared her fears. She shared her dreams. She shared her heart. But love, she learned, is fragile when built on expectations. Rowan loved her strength, but not her vulnerability. He wanted her smile, not her tears. One evening, during an argument she never saw coming, he said the words that stayed with her forever: "You're too complicated, Aarohi. I want peace." Peace. As if her pain was noise. He left, and Aarohi didn't stop him. The silence after goodbye. After that, something inside her changed. She didn't cry loudly. She didn't break down dramatically. She simply became quieter, stronger, colder. She learned to sit alone in crowded rooms. She learned to trust herself more than promises. She learned that loving yourself was not selfish, it was necessary. That day, standing in front of the white wall, Aarohi wasn't posing. She was reminding herself, I survived everything that tried to break me. Her phone buzzed. A message. An opportunity. Something unexpected. She took a deep breath. Little did she know, this message was about to change everything. End of part 1.